Hey, it is Andryanna and it is August. Like, what? When did that happen? I'm sure your summer is flying by just like mine is. And August is one of those months where it's like we're still in the lazy, hazy days of summer, but we know the busy fall hustle and bustle is just right around the corner. And we're in this place, we're in this like a little bit of limbo where we're wanting to really enjoy the most of these beautiful, hot, sunny days. But we also want to make sure that we're, starting to think about preparing for, getting ready for the fall season. And so I thought that to share a replay today would be a really great idea. And I had this one in mind for quite a little while for a few reasons. So in today's episode, we're going to be looking at how we can really harness our energy, how we can really tap into our own alignment and how we can do this in a way that's filled with more ease and more fun and it doesn't feel heavy and it doesn't feel like just another task on our to-do list. And so this episode talks about the ancient practice of Reiki. And I'm chatting with my sister-in-law, Ali Payetta, who is a Reiki practitioner. She's also a certified yoga instructor, a cacao ceremony facilitator, a human design reader. She's also an incredible photographer and storyteller, among so many other things. And in this conversation, we look at those fundamental principles of Reiki healing, and we look at not only what it is, but how it's practiced and all of the health benefits that our energy and working on our energy can truly bring. So, for this episode, I want you to think of it from this perspective of how you can lead your days in better alignment, how you can release stress, how you can feel more peace and calm, how you can sleep better, how you can feel less pain and truly heal your body, heal your mind, and really live your truth right now, here and today. So this conversation shares some really great information as well as some starting points and advice for what you can do right now in this moment to lead your days in better alignment. So if this sounds good to you, let's dive right in. Hey, I'm Andryanna Gonco, and this is the Juggle is Real podcast. As I share my ongoing journey from experiencing burnout to leading a more mindful and intentional life with better balance, I hope you feel seen, that you realize your worth, lighten your load, and prioritize your own needs. As we hear from leading experts and well-known faces in the wellness, entrepreneurship, education, and motherhood space, I hope you gain insights, proven practices, and learn actionable tools to help you enjoy the juggle of work, family, and everything in between with a little less stress and a lot more ease, joy, and fun. Most of all, I hope you find what you need to simplify, streamline, and supercharge your own journey of better balance and self-love. Are you with me? Let's get started. Before we get into today's episode, I really wanted to share something very quickly because, we are in August. And as I was saying, back to school, back to work, it's looming, it's right around the corner. And so, right here and right now is the perfect time to set your intentions and really make those clear, attainable goals for yourself leading into the fall. And I use my 30 Days for Me program in the Juggle is Real Authentic Self-Care Planner, which is based on 5 pillars of well-being. It helps me feel in control. It helps me be more efficient and really be more purposeful every single day. So here's what I do. Each month, I set goals and I follow daily prompts to stay on track and make time for myself. And I can't even tell you how much of a game changer this has been because it has really built up my self-awareness and I can seamlessly integrate self-care practices into my daily routine. So it really becomes just an effortless habit. The Juggle is Real Authentic Self-Care Planner, it's different because it really gets the unique challenges that you face as a busy person, a mom, an individual with lots on the go. And the planner offers practical solutions and support, helping you make your needs a priority, even with everything else that's going on in your life. I truly can't emphasize enough how much this planner has changed my life. And it has been a go-to tool for finding better balance and making sure that I take care of myself, even with everything on my plate. So if you are ready to feel more in control and make your well-being a priority, I truly believe that this planner can do the same for you. So don't wait. Get your copy now. It's available on Amazon and start making a real difference in your daily life. I know you're worthy of it. You know you deserve it. So pick up the Juggle is Real Authentic Self-Care Planner today on Amazon, or head to the notes in this podcast episode because, of course, I put the link in there. Now let's get back to this episode and enjoy. I am so thrilled to be here, actually in the same house in two different rooms, recording this podcast episode with my dear sister-in-law, Ali Payetta. As you heard in the introduction, Ali is married to my brother, Nicholas, and the two of them have this beautiful, adorable little dog, Yogi, who is sitting in her lap right now. And my dog is hacking up a lung on the bed in the corner, but welcome, Ali, to the Juggle is Real podcast. I'm so happy we could find the time to have this chat.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm so grateful and honored to be on your podcast and to even be able to share a little bit about myself and my story. I'm so grateful.
Yes. And, your story, I feel like it's just so inspiring. And the topics that we're going to be discussing in terms of living in alignment today, we're going to be focusing on harnessing your energy with Reiki. For those of us who know what Reiki is, you might be familiar, but can you just explain for those who are listening who maybe have heard the word or have no idea, just maybe give us a little bit of an explanation for what Reiki actually is?
Yes. So Reiki is a very fascinating experience. Reiki is an ancient Japanese healing practice that has been around for an incredibly long time. It's a spiritually guided life force energy that has many healing benefits. So Rei means higher power and Ki means life force energy. So Reiki together is really using that life force energy to provide healing. And what it does is it works with the unconscious parts of the mind to release old energy or remove energy, any energy blockage that we're having in the body and our chakras. So really the biggest benefits that most people really do feel, especially in the introduction to Reiki, is how relaxing it is, how calming it is, and they really feel that reduction of stress in their lives. And that's what Reiki has brought to me. And as you said, for how we're kind of guided on these journeys, I feel like I've been on this journey of getting to this point of what Reiki can teach me, because I was learning about human connection, learning about energy, learning about myself. And what Reiki has really taught me is even more so, as much as I have learned so much about human connection from photography, Reiki, especially distance Reiki, has taught me how powerful human connection is, how powerful our energy is, how being aware of our energy can really affect our everyday, our mind, body, and soul. So a lot of the healing benefits for Reiki is not only stress reduction and depression, anxiety, and promoting relaxation, but removing stagnant negative energy out of the body, increasing mobility, heals inflammation and infection. It can treat illness, improve clarity and spiritual growth. And it really is becoming something we're kind of in a cycle where we're finding now, moving to a lot of ancient things. So he is now starting to be used in more settings like hospitals and being used in hospice because of its healing benefits. So Reiki can, for some people, seem a bit out of body, because what it is, what's so beautiful about Reiki and why I love Reiki so much is access to everyone. Everyone has access to Reiki, and we're all doing Reiki. When you go through your Reiki training, what it is receiving energy attunement. and upgrades to be able to use the symbols of Reiki to harness energy from everyone. So Reiki is a process of harnessing the energy that you already have and helping you heal yourself with the energy that's around you and releasing that energy out of the body and receiving the healing energy around you. So anyone has access to it. And it really is the most beautiful gift, I think, that we can learn from Reiki and also receive Reiki.
Wow. I mean, I had heard of it. Um, I was a bit aware because my mom has had some Reiki sessions in the past. But until you got your certification, I had sort of forgotten all about it. It wasn't something that was really top of mind for me. But a few months ago, I had a Reiki session with you, and I found that it was so powerful and it was such a beautiful experience. Um, One of the parts that I found most interesting, though, was that we did it well over the phone. And also at one point, I was just taking a bath by myself, like we were chatting. Then I, went, took a bath, and then you called me back a little while later. And then we had this beautiful discussion. It was all so easy and it flowed and it was a beautiful experience. You were thousands of miles away, like you were traveling and we were far apart. So you touched upon distance Reiki, but I didn't know that that was a
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like I thought that in order to have this experience, to have a Reiki treatment, that you had to be with the person in the same room, and it was a whole thing. So I mean, that can be an experience, but talk to me, like, what actually is the process of how a typical session happens, whether in person or distance. What is it that you're actually doing to help someone that you're doing a session with?
Yeah, so I myself actually didn't even know that distance Reiki was a practice. I had been introduced, yeah, I was familiar with Reiki, but the same Reiki experience I had was similar to you. It was in person, which was also very wonderful. And then after becoming certified and learning about distance Reiki and the distance Reiki symbol, that was something I really connected with because we have shifted completely in our lives, that we are now living nomadically, Nick and I, and we're traveling a lot, and being able to harness that energy and provide distance Reiki seemed like what a beautiful opportunity to be able to provide healing to so many more people than who's just close in my vicinity. So distance Reiki is incredibly it really is mind blowing, I think, how it works. So, Reiki works by using these symbols, by calling in the energy and expressing gratitude for the energy. So, there's a distance Reiki symbol to use. And how a typical session works is beforehand, I set a room. It's really important to have practices with your Reiki practice. So, I burn Palo Santo and sage to clear and cleanse the energy. I use the distance Reiki and the other Reiki symbols to call in the energy of the person who I'm working with and performing Reiki for. Try to connect with that person using crystals, visualization. And with Reiki, how we move forward with Reiki, which I think is a beautiful lesson that we can all take with us. And we were talking about this the other day about manifestation, is with Reiki, you already give thanks that the healing energy has happened before the session begins. You give thanks that the healing has happened because it always will be healing, because it's always working for your best benefit and for the best and healing energy and best highest interest of the highest self. So that session, really, I start calling in, and it is, a lot of people had questions when I started doing distance Reiki because most people haven't experienced it. So I think, being the receiving end of Reiki, I just like to express to people that why I love distance Reiki is because it really does allow you to be in a space that's comfortable. It's different when you're going to a practitioner's office. It really is a vulnerable practice of opening your energy, accepting the energy, which can be harder to do when you're in someone else's space and maybe someone you don't know. So distance Reiki is beautiful because it really allows you to be in your own space, to create that calm. And how I flow into that, after I've set those intentions and I've set that space, I call the person that I'm working with. And typically I don't know the people that I'm working with. I just kind of touch base on if there's anything in particular. Reiki, we can definitely work on specific ailments or questions, intentions, illnesses, or we can flow through. And I've been finding most people really just like to flow through and see what comes up. And that's beautiful, because I find that's even more healing for a lot of people, because there hasn't been a lot of shared information. It's let's just see what arises. We disconnect the call, and usually the session is about half an hour, 45, sometimes a full hour, depending on the session. I do like to pull cards before and after as well, which I think has been a really beautiful addition into the Reiki practice, because those cards always seem to go hand in hand with the messages of Reiki. And what people might feel when receiving Reiki, what I explain is to be aware of your body. So entering into a state of meditation is how we begin distance Reiki. And usually I say to enter into that meditative state by expressing gratitude for the healing energy, saying words like, I'm open to receiving Reiki, I'm open to receive this healing energy, and really letting yourself remain in that state of gratitude, and then just remaining calm and seeing what comes up in the body. You might feel heat, sensations, tingling. Sometimes people can get little cramps, nudges, dependent on, the energy that's in the body. Any visualizations, visions, feelings. A lot of people do tend to feel emotional as well. A lot of the energy we hold in our bodies is emotional energy. So some people will experience more of an emotional experience than others. Every Reiki session is completely different, completely different. So it's really just being aware, letting yourself be open, remaining in that nice calm space that you've created for yourself, being open to that healing energy, being aware of the body. And from my end, I'm essentially performing Reiki by connecting with the chakras of the body. So being able to feel where blockages of the chakras might be, feeling if there's pain where people are holding in their bodies, certain emotions, and trying to be aware of what I'm feeling. If I'm feeling a certain sensation or I'm having certain visions or feelings, I take that as a sign that that must be what the person I'm working with is experiencing. So trying to just be open to what I'm feeling, what they're feeling. So after the session is complete and we've completed that Reiki healing, we've blessed the energy, we've given thanks to the energy, we've cleared negative energy out of the body, and we've accepted the healing energy to come in, heal, and end the Reiki session. I give a call back to the person that I'm working with, and we just connect about the session, about how they're feeling. Usually I like to share first about what I've experienced. And I found each time, sometimes they teach you in Reiki, say whatever you think and feel or what's come up. And sometimes you might feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this resonates, or, does this seem crazy to say? But from every experience I've had so far, each experience has been so incredibly different, but healing for that person. And each session has had something that has just been like, wow, I cannot believe that we both connected and felt that or saw that. To know that you have that pain in your body, or to know that you experienced that trauma, or that you're dealing with this life situation. And every person afterwards has said, regardless of the different things they experienced, that they felt so much more at peace after. So I think that's been a really beautiful lesson to learn, how the stress reduction and the peace that Reiki really does bring, and teaches us how powerful our energy is.
It's so incredible. I mean, it really just does blow my mind. And you're mentioning it, how we are all so connected. And I think that just is so true. But I do want to just, talk to the critics who might be listening and are thinking, okay, so this sounds great. So all I have to do is like hop on a call, go lay down, relax, do whatever, have a bath. Yeah. And then you're going to call me back, and, I'm going to be feeling better, and, everything's going to be, awesome. So just share quickly a few examples, perhaps, don't give names, of course, or anything like that, but some of the experiences that you have had that have really resonated with the people that you've worked with. I would love to hear a couple.
Yeah, absolutely. I had one woman that I was working with, And I would say most people that I've worked with so far have a couple have had Reiki experiences. One had an actual distance Reiki session before. Most people, this is their introduction to it. And the first person I actually did distance Reiki for was completely not, very open, not necessarily open, but very skeptical of not understanding how it was going to work, how the session was going to take place. And it was still so far the most eye-opening and biggest learning experience I've had so far. And for this person, it was very, very emotional. And this person is not someone who expresses a lot of emotion so much in their everyday life, but holds a lot of emotional trauma in the body. Because they aren't expressive and don't let that emotion out, they experience a lot of aches and pain in the body. So that was something that we were focusing on. And it was almost clairvoyant, this session, of being able to connect and feel people that were standing with her, people that have hurt her in her life, that have passed on, memories with these people, and where particularly in the body she holds those, feeling energy, being able to feel on my end. I'm crying, I'm sitting crying as I'm doing this and seeing this, getting senses of, is this a brother? Is this a father? Particular memories of being on a beach with her brother that had passed, and feeling pain and emotion in the sacral chakra, spending a lot of time in their solar plexus and feeling this emotion and seeing aura colors. Auras is also something that can come up. And when I called her at the end of the session, she was crying and we were both crying. And I said, this is really emotional on my end. What about for you? And she was incredibly emotional. So I went first to share and said, I'm going to share what I experienced. Some might resonate, some might not. And we experienced the exact same thing. She knew at what point in her body I was in. She had a burning sensation and heat in the sacral and her solar plexus. She had memories of her brother, one particularly on a beach that I felt like I had seen, and her father came to her. She was incredibly emotional. She's had a very traumatic past, and a lot of that energy came up because Reiki does unlock that unconscious part of the mind. Those memories were coming up. So it was such a big learning experience, even the aura colors. And this person's not someone who's like connected with a lot of that spirituality. So for her to even be aware and see those colors and to express that, and for me to see the same, was like, wow, this is powerful and this is true. And from each experience, that was someone that I knew. Recently, I started offering sessions by donation and have had a lot of people come forward that I've never met before, that are in different provinces and different parts of the world. So this is big distance, and moving into that was, you always have a little bit of nerves of each session because I want it to be healing for each person. But a really beautiful lesson that Reiki has taught me is to let go of the ego, because it's not about me. Whoever's performing Reiki is the conduit for the energy that already exists around each person. And that is around us, because I too am calling in the energy that's around me so that our energy is working together to help heal. So to be able to connect with someone that I don't even know, I don't know what these people look like. I don't know, where they live. I just know that we've connected and I'm performing this session. To have experiences, to know where someone's holding pain in the body, to know this one woman I was working with, I still don't know where she lives. I had felt that she was holding a lot, that she had a very emotional year, and that she was holding a lot in her body and her sacral. And I felt like she was suffering from back pain, like especially on her left side, and that there was visions of having like a grandfather energy around and was showing me something of a bracelet, something that was, maybe of importance. And knowing that she was kind of at this pinnacle in her life, but maybe she was almost messages, and from the cards, that she was being told to move forward in a more natural form of healing. So when I called her at the end of the session, it was the same thing. She was very emotional. I was very emotional. She was very relaxed, though, feeling very peaceful. And when I shared the experience of what I was feeling on my end and what I saw, she shared exactly that with me, that she had been struggling with back pain and she's been struggling in her health because she's had one of the most challenging years of her life with the passing of two very important family members. One of them being her grandfather, who did buy her this bracelet when she was really young. So those types of visions can come in as, people and energy that are with us to show that we're there and to give that confirmation that, these are things that no one would know. These aren't things that I can gather before. So to have those experiences of connection and realize, wow, like I can feel and she can feel, we can feel each other. We can feel each other. We can see each other. And we now know that you have experienced this. And she was in a place of a very challenging place in her life of kind of choose which way she is to go in life. And if she needed to make some changes, and she was interested in finding natural ways to heal herself. And so for her, it was a really great session because she felt like she got reassurance. You're like, yes, my energy is telling me that I am supposed to be following this gut instinct of healing this way. I am supposed to maybe forge this new path. These family members are around me and they are thinking of me. And she said afterwards that she had a beautiful sleep that night. She felt really relaxed. She felt at peace and was amazed at how being so far away that it could still be so healing. It really
Wow.
has been a very life-altering experience to have these experiences with other people and to realize the power of this, of Reiki healing.
Absolutely. I mean, like I was getting like just chills and all, hearing these experiences. It's just so powerful. So I feel that, even if you are critical of, different types of healing or looking to harness your energy, but you're, not 100% sold on alternative modes of doing so. Sometimes, we can just, try something and see, who
Exactly
knows, like
that.
what do you have to lose, right? So I think that's so special that you can do this. So there are people like yourself who are able to really just tap in and to work with these energies and to help others. I think it's a beautiful gift that you are, that you've tapped into for yourself, but that you can provide to others. So thank you so much for having this ability and sharing it with everyone. Now, when it comes to and just in closing, I mean, knowing that Reiki has so many benefits, you're talking about physical benefits, emotional benefits,
Mm-hmm.
health benefits, um, things from helping our moods and to remove stress from our lives, to make us improve our moods, lose pain, lose some of that stress. um oh my gosh, I'm just kind of thinking like, as we are and so many of us who are listening, like we're juggling so many things right now. And,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's work or family or, personal lives, maybe we are grieving, maybe we have experienced trauma. Maybe there are things that, I was just recently speaking to Dr. Laura Florian and talking about our inner child and how,
Mm-hmm.
how we have experienced our childhood. There are things that we're still holding from that are affecting our daily lives as adults. So I would just love to hear from you. I mean, if you have any advice for those who are listening, those who are leading these very busy, very full lives, who are like, yes, like I would just love to feel peace and calm. I want to remove stress. I want to start leading a life maybe with more intention. I would love to, start looking at my energy or trying to harness it, become in better alignment with myself. I have no idea where to start. I barely have the time to be sitting in, listening in on this podcast. What are some first
Mm-hmm.
steps that I can take? What are some things that you would recommend to the listeners who just want a starting off point, or maybe are looking for some practices that they can incorporate, whether it be Reiki or other things that they can incorporate in their day-to-day lives?
Yeah. Of course. Well, first, I would say, you're not alone. I think collectively, we are in a time energetically where we're transitioning at the end of a karmic cycle and starting a new one coming up in 2027, which is taking us to a more emotional and spiritual awareness. So having these feelings of feeling, I think a lot of us are feeling that way because society has put these structures and these labels and this pressure on us to do it all, to do everything. And trying to find time in between for self-care is incredibly challenging. And I think one of the biggest challenges we all have is making time for ourselves. So feeling overworked and burnt out, if you're struggling from health challenges and maybe you're not receiving the care that you feel that you should be in different ways, like you said, try. There's no harm in ever trying something. Energy work is always healing. It's always going to be of the best and highest interest of yourself. And if anything, you'll just feel relaxed and you just have some time out for yourself for a meditation. Little steps that I like to say to take is just becoming more aware of your own energy every day, becoming aware of maybe your triggers or when you're finding yourself feeling overworked, burnt out, and you need a minute to just sit with yourself and have a couple of breaths, 4 deep breaths, center yourself and come from a place of gratitude. When we can take breaths and recenter ourselves in gratitude, it can shift our whole perspective. I think that's one of the number one things that I would recommend to becoming aware of energy, and also maybe expanding your mind and opening to see if are you aware of energies around you? Do you feel that when you're with certain people or following certain accounts or eating certain foods or being a part of certain environments, is it making you happy or is it really affecting your energy negatively? What is not bringing you joy? We have to be at a point of letting go. And I think that's what's happening collectively as well as individually is we are in a place of having to let go, of having to, like you said, we're really at a time of realizing our traumas, our past traumas, our childhood traumas. We really have to start working through those energy blockages. And I think that starts with just being aware of our own energy and the energy around us. And if it is something that you're resonating with of feeling your own energy, if you're curious about Reiki, if you find that you're curious about energy that's around you, then I think Reiki is a really beautiful option to try. And what I love about Reiki is Reiki and yoga very much go hand in hand. Typically, when I do Reiki sessions, I also provide yoga healing that people can do based on where their chakras have really been blocked. Because again, yoga is an ancient form of healing as well. That all comes back to the alignment of our chakras, the balancing of our chakras, our nadi system. And this is all energy work. This is, breath is life force energy and Reiki is life force energy. So I am a very strong believer that yoga, no matter what it is, yoga is everything of all levels. Can be the most minimal movements is so healing. So even incorporating some yoga, I think, is also a really beautiful healing method for anyone who feels like they're trying to manage a lot and feeling really stressed out. Taking that time to just be aware of your energy, go inward. And yeah, if you're interested in energy work, there is an abundance of beautiful healers around here, and there is an abundance of Reiki energy and easy access to everyone and all different forms of energy work. And Reiki really is, I think, something that is very easily accessible for everyone to have access to, especially being distance.
Awesome. Ali, where can we find you if we want to tag along and be a part of your journey, perhaps get in touch to explore more with Reiki or just your personal journey? How can listeners find you?
Yeah, so you can find me over on Instagram at Ali and Nicholas, which is ALLY and Nicholas NICHOLS. So that's us at Instagram. And we also have a website, www.allyandnicholas.com. This is where right now our hub kind of is. You'll get a sense of all the things we do. We share about our life, our journey that we've been on and that I've been on in my own journey of exploration and travel, of energy healing, human design.
Ali, thank you so much for all the time you've taken to spend with us today and sharing your journey and all the work that you're doing to just help heal the world we could all use a little helping hand. And I appreciate everything you're doing
Oh,
to
thank you
aid.
so much. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you having me on here. I'm just so amazed and inspired by what you're doing and the space that you're creating for so many people to have an outlet to receive information and inspiration. And I'm really grateful to be a part of
Oh, gratitude all around.
it. Yes. Thank you so much.
I'm always so grateful and really filled with a true sense of gratitude after each and every interview and episode that I record for the Juggle is Real podcast. I appreciate you listening and tuning in. Geez, I appreciate just having this time uninterrupted without kids or any distractions to have this beautiful discussion with Allie. If you're interested in learning more about Allie and her journey, I am including notes and links in this podcast episode. So the notes for this episode, you can get all of those details. I'd also really, really appreciate it if you could rate our podcast, write a review. If you're enjoying it, if you're getting value from it, it would mean the world to me if you could spend just another minute to go ahead and do that. And as always, if you know someone who could use some advice or is looking into starting or continuing that better balance journey, please share this episode and this podcast with them. The more people we can reach, the more we can be living in alignment. I will see you back here in a few weeks, and until then, I hope you take good care. Bye for now.